Hello and welcome to Game 3 of the ZOTAC Finals number 260. Today we're going to be watching Game 3, as I just said, between Infi, spawning as the blue human in the top right, versus Lucifer, spawning as the pink human in the bottom left. We're going to be seeing a fairly standard Ted Fiends build over here from Lucifer. It looks like, yes indeed, altar with the crypt, and we're going to see a single built altar over here. It's not a very fast hero for the human, which means he's going to be able to get out a very fast footman that's going to be able to come down here and harass or scout either one. We saw in games 1 and 2 Lucifer getting the early Nerubian tower to try to prevent the footman from coming in here and doing any damage to his acolytes with that harass. But this game, it looks like we're not seeing that early Nerubian tower this game, which is going to be interesting to see if he actually goes ahead and throws that down or not. But given the way the resources are kind of working out, he might decide not to do that. He might try to be getting away with it, because in the first 2 games he did indeed do that first early Nerubian tower, and so it might be that Infi just isn't going to try to go in there and harass at all this game. But we'll have to wait and see exactly how that plays out. We're going to be seeing the Archmage, of course, versus the Death Knight, and here's, of course, his Tome of Relics. There's the Graveyard, and let's see, over here we do have an Acolyte scouting around just to see what exactly is going to happen up here in the top of the game. We can see that Lucifer is scouting out these, I believe, yes, 4 militia. I was normally expecting a 5th one, but just 4 going to be coming. Looks like there's the 5th one right there, coming in here to creep this out. Here comes that footman, and of course we do have Infi's footman running away. He does see that there is a Nubian tower being built, and he decides to run away. And we can see the Death Knight does have a Rod of Necromancy and his Town Portal. And here's the Archmage, who's actually picked up a Circlet of Nobility, which is not a bad item at all. It's definitely a good item to have. It brings him up to 500 HP at level 1, and of course that's not shabby whatsoever. And over here we can see that here comes Lucifer, going to spawn some skeletons, and he's going to come over here and try to do a little bit of harass. What's he going to target? I don't know. Probably the Archmage, if he does decide to run in here and actually take a little bit of damage. Instead, being a little bit smarter than that, he's going to keep his units kind of at the outskirtish. Let's kind of see where is Infi going to go, staying away from taking too much free hits because he doesn't want to give Infi any free damage. Over here we can see Lucifer has begun his tech. Going to get a Nerubian tower, or Ziggurat, I'm sorry, at some point, because he is, there goes the Ziggurat, he needs that, and it looks like he's going to get that before his Fiend, so he's going to be doing that build, because you can get your Fiend, of course. You can mix up your timing of the Fiend and all those other things. We're going to see a Clue going off onto the Archmage, trying to kill one of these skeletons. Going to do that. Lucifer spawning another set of skeletons, up to 3 at this point. Here's a mercenary camp. We might see this getting crept, or he might come over here for this gold mine. However, it looks like he's probably going to go ahead. Yes, indeed, Lucifer pulls out this creep, so if he wanted that, it doesn't matter, because he is going to have to creep this. And is he going to go ahead? Yes, he buys a Forest Troll Shadow Priest. It's going to allow him to start abolishing some of these skeletons. Lucifer's harass not going to be very effective here. We do see one of these militia going down. Another set of skeletons coming up here, but they are going to go ahead and immediately be focused down for the most part. We do have one that the Archmage is focusing on, as well as a footman, but the other one was immediately picked off. Here we do see Infi picking up a Forest Troll Berserker, getting a really nice army right here at the early game. Here we do see a footman going down to a coil. Lucifer just trying to get as much experience from this as he can, trying to steal an item. And it looks like actually a Scourge Bone Chimes dropping for Infi. A very good item to have, giving all of his melee units here 15% lifesteal, as you can see right there. Yes, indeed, for 15% any damage they deal, that is converted to life for them. So that's really, really a strong item to have. And this is an Archmage that is almost level 3. Here we can see here Lucifer coming in here to try to stop this farm from being built. He might be able to cancel it here. He's definitely going to be able to get this peasant to go down. And is he going to go ahead and try to go ahead and get that cancel? It looks like he's going to run away as Infi goes ahead and cancels it anyway. And here we do see Infi just finishing this off at level 3 now with a Ring of Protection +2 dropping from this creep camp. We can see Lucifer taking some pot shots over here on this Forest Troll Berserker. It's going to go ahead and get healed up by the Shadow Priest, however, and both of those skeletons are going to go down as we see Lucifer retreating, as now he has no more skeleton charges at all. One of his fiends down in his base, about to hit tier 2, and he's going ahead and throwing, he's already thrown down that 3rd Ziggurat. It's going to be finishing very shortly, which is going to allow him to get that fiend right there, but also get his next hero, his Lich, coming out right at tier 2 if he so desires. Look, you see right there, because he was at 26 out of 30 food without it, and that brings him up to 26 out of 40. It looks like he's going to go ahead and throw down a Slaughterhouse first, however, and buy his Rod of Necromancy as well, which means he's going to delay that Lich a little bit, just so he can continue creeping in the meantime with a little bit more ease than in not taking damage on his hero. Over here we can see that it looks like Infi is going to be creeping a little bit as well. It's good to get this spawn and this spawn crept out, because those are sort of your the humans they're on the human side of the map, and if Lucifer decides to siege this expo, then for whatever reason he decides to back off for a moment with the heal up, he could creep out this, creep out that, get a bunch of free experience. It's not something that Infi wants him to do, so he goes ahead and creeps these out, it looks like, and that's just something good to do. If you can, he's going to be scouting around here, just seeing where is Lucifer with this illusion, trying to find him, trying to see if he's hiding up here with any fiends or anything. No, indeed he is not. Here we do see him coming by and running by this illusion. Lucifer not being fooled by it, immediately deciding, I'm going to go for this expo, I need to do damage to it if I can. Mid-creep, Infi deciding he has to stop because he does not want to lose this expansion. He's going to go ahead and lose a tower here, there's no doubt about that. 3 fiends is certainly enough to take one down, especially if there's not being repaired, and these peasants are trying to get this town hall up. Lucifer running away from this fight, not really wanting to take it. He knows that there's too many units over here from Infi to really do too much right there. You can see that the Lich has now come out, and the Lich is going to come up here and try to reinforce this fight that Lucifer is insisting upon taking, now that he can go ahead and kind of draw some of these units back away from the main army. And we can see if we look over here at Infi's base, he hasn't begun his tech yet. He does not have masonry or any kind of upgrades being researched just yet. We can see this farm has been built, and now that peasant is going to run back to the base to continue mining wood, or chopping wood, I guess you would say. And we do still see 2 very nice Wand of Illusion charges onto this hero, and he does have 4 footmen and let's see, 2 shadow priests as well as a 4-show berserker. And here comes yet another footman, and even another footman being produced. That brings him up to 6 footmen, which is a really nice, comfortable number to have if he gets defend, and he probably already has that at this point, but I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see if he does have that or not just yet. And down here we can tell Lucifer going ahead and researching backpack, throwing down yet another ziggurat, so it looks like he might be doing something at tier 2 maybe, and trying to put him in a big push. He might not be able to do just that, but we'll have to wait and find out exactly what his plans are. He should have a statue out at this point, if I remember correctly. Yes, there it is, that statue. And here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fiends. Do they have any upgrades? No upgrades yet to speak of. We might be seeing this turn go into a tier 3 tech, and here comes the very first ranged attack upgrade for these fiends. It'll bring them up a little bit of damage. That'll be useful. Here you can see this fight going to go pretty well for Lucifer, I think, here, because let's see, do we have defend? Oh, sorry, I probably shouldn't be. There we go. It doesn't appear to see any defend on the field yet, and there you can see more footmen are on their way. Here comes defend. In fact, defend is going to be a very valuable research to have against a very big fiend army like this. Here we do see a scroll of the beast being used, which is going to, of course, give every one of Lucifer's units here 25% increased attack damage for 45 seconds. Here we do see one of these fiends taking a bit of damage from those fiends, almost being surrounded, but getting out of that not too badly. And here we can see that guard tower being repaired and just really getting a lot of damage off. Of course, I'm sorry, whoops, there we go, 23 to 27 damage. It does have that 1 level of masonry, but the masonry, of course, is only for its survivability, not for its damage. And its damage 23 to 27 while attacking very fast is a lot, even if it is just piercing damage and just one source of it, but it is still a lot when it has that many attacks off. It just does unrelenting, essentially. You can see that this fiend is going to go ahead and pick up skeletons. We do have a blight or a school of blight being used to provide some blight here for the undead units, and the undead units, of course, gain 2 HP a second while they're on blight. Here we do see that defend being used very effectively by Infi, and Infi doing a good job of just keeping this expo alive and delaying Lucifer's big push, and he's still at tier 2, so it looks like he really wants to do this big push as soon as he can, and that means he really can't afford to lose very many fiends here, because when you're doing this push, it relies on having a very large army that just absolutely overwhelms Infi and forces Infi to continue making units, but Infi is teching, he's almost at tier 2 at this point, which means he will be able to get a Mountain King or something out for his second hero quite shortly. During this push, we do see what I believe is 6 fiends on the field right now and 2 statues. Probably just going to see some more fiends. Yes, there's another fiend. It looks like that rally point has not been fixed just yet to his hero, because he did have it there to go ahead and pick up the skeletons on that the fiend that had just come out. Something you generally will want to do is, of course, fix your rally down to your shop, so it's not running if you're in the middle of a fight and you can't immediately get it out. But there is an issue with that. You do see an ogre being picked off that Infi had brought from that mercenary camp. We do see this is a tech going up. Lucifer kind of realizing he's not going to do as much damage as he wanted to with this big push over here, so he's saying, I'm going to go ahead and begin my tech at this point. It's something that he seems to do at a very subjective kind of point, like if he believes he's going to be able to take out the expansion, it looks like he tends to go ahead and really do really hard tier 2 until he can just do enough damage to really justify going to tier 3, and not knowing that he can do enough damage to take this expo out. But in this case, we do have, it looks like, 2 water elementals and a suicidal footman on these statues right here, trying to take them out. And it looks like it's going to be a really good move by Infi, forcing Lucifer to ignore that expansion and go after these units. And he does go ahead, Infi does go ahead and pick up a Mud Golem, which is going to allow him to cast slow on that statue, which is going to cause that statue to go down right there. Here you see one of these Shadow Priests trying to go down. Well, yes, indeed, it dies. They don't have a lot of life, as you can see, only 240 with no armor, and they do take extra damage from magic attacks. So, not really making a big deal when it comes to magic, because none of these units are doing magic except for the Obsidian statue, which wasn't attacking it. But with no armor at all, 240 life just isn't that much. Now, we do see level 4 on that Death Knight now. Level 4 as well on the Archmage. However, the Archmage has gone ahead and picked up a potion of healing. Not really too worried about it. He's just trying to keep himself from dying down to a Coil Nova and a bit of focus. And that's without that potion of healing, he wouldn't have that security. He goes ahead and uses it to get him up to full life. Here you see that Mountain King is out, throwing a bolt onto the Death Knight, trying to get over here to the shop so he can buy a potion of healing and use it. Yes, he does. Almost having that coil. That coil would have killed him if he hadn't been had there not been a shop right there. But you see a Fiend going down. I'm not sure if that was a Dark Ritual. I don't think so though. I didn't see the animation on the Lich. Over here we can see this is tier 3, going ahead and making yet another Fiend. Any more upgrades? I don't see any more upgrades. Just he's already gone up to 2. I missed one of them as he was doing it then. And here we do see some Spellbreakers are going to be coming out for Infi. Now, Lucifer has decided to back off, and now you see, this is what I was talking about when he says he wants to back off for a minute and creep. He could have been creeping right there or right here, but instead he has to come all the way over here to creep. And this is a red that you really don't want to be creeping reds that are difficult like that. It's easy to get trapped into it. There's a ramp right there, and that's always going to be an issue for you. Over here, we're going to see that Infi has decided, well, you know what, I know that Lucifer is creeping right now, and I don't know exactly where he is, but I know that he's not near my expo, because I crept out around my expo, so I know I can go to his base and kind of creep out around his base. So really smart move by Infi doing that. And here we do see, it looks like a footman is going to go down. So now Infi does indeed know exactly where Lucifer's army is. And he's going to go, Lucifer's going to go ahead and creep out the mirror to what Infi is creeping down here. So they're both creeping each other's natural goblin laboratory, you could call that. Down here we can see a boneyard going up for Lucifer. Now we have seen Lucifer, that means Lucifer does have a sacrificial pit. We've seen Lucifer do a very good frostworm strategy before, where he did get several frostworms and absolutely obliterated a human who had an expansion, which is something that I don't really recall ever seeing before in the pro scene, is this sort of the frostworm strategy, the way Lucifer has pulled it off. I've seen, of course, frostworms be used in the pro scene, but not quite the way Lucifer did it against a human who has an expansion, not with his timings. So I think that might very well be a strategy unique to what Lucifer has. He did say at some point in time that he has a lot of strategies he wants to use, and we've definitely seen so much innovation from Lucifer here since he's come back from the army and started playing Warcraft 3 again. Now we do have a shade out for him, and he's going to go ahead and scout out what is going on. We do see these are going to be some Spellbreakers just kind of rallied over here to this expansion. You don't want those running around the map if you're not kind of sure that they're going to live. If they get intercepted, they can take a lot of damage. Over here we do see that Lucifer is going to creep out this red mine right there, and we can see that these human heroes are going to accidentally leave a Tome of Agility behind, unfortunately, but they do have an Illyria's Flute of Accuracy. Kind of mumbled those words, but Illyria's Flute of Accuracy, it gives 10% damage to all ranged units. It's good to have, and I believe that does indeed work. Yes, it works on the Spellbreakers. That is the True Shot order that they can see right there. Here it looks like Lucifer is expanding over here, and we can see that he got a crystal ball from that creep, and that's going to be really useful. It looks like the the Magic Sentry has been researched. It went ahead and picked off that shade that was sitting there within range. Looks like Lucifer's hero kind of having a little bit of issue right there. I'm not sure if he's doing this on purpose. It looks like he's doing that on purpose. I'm not sure why he's standing right there. Maybe just trying to prevent any units from running through here to help repair, just kind of blocking that area off for peasants. So that's very interesting. I'm not sure why he would be running back and forth like that, but now at this point, as you can see, that several peasants have gone in there. Now you can see two towers are down at this point, and over here we can see that Infi is beginning to creep this out, and he's going to bring some militia down. He's probably going to go ahead and try to creep that out. The Mountain King does have some really nice items, a health stone, which provides passive regeneration of 1 hit point per second, as well as can be used for a 500 HP potion. A Gloves of Haste, obviously the Illyria's Flute of Accuracy. We see that Fiend taking a lot of damage, but a lot of these militia are going to be picked off, so unfortunately there's going to be no expansion for Infi down there at that point. And he does, of course, from that red, pick up a Hood of Cunning, which is 4 agility and 4 intelligence, which is a nice item to have as well. Now we do see the heroes here are 5-3 versus 5-4. 5-4, sorry about that. Beginning to sigh a little bit, but a little tired, but not too bad. And we do see a bolt going off onto that Lich. We're going to see enough mana for a full coil. Here comes that Paladin. And I would say that right now that the Infi probably has the advantage when it comes to hero levels. but we'll have to wait and find out exactly what goes on. Both players with really nice items. Of course, you do have the Death Knight with a Hellstone as well as a Potion of Greater Healing. I believe they share a cooldown, if I'm not mistaken. They might not, but I think they do. But we're probably going to see one of those be passed over here. No, undead, we're going to see a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability be passed over to the Death Knight instead. We do see these Spellbreakers running across the map, chasing Lucifer away. Lucifer with his Boneyard as well as his expansion over here, knowing that he does not need to take out this expansion at this point anymore. He needs to cause pressure, and he needs to keep this human from creeping up too much and getting better hero levels than him, but that's about it. He knows that he can take a late game fight at this point, given that his army is in such good shape and that his opponent is going for a ground-based army. With a ground-based army, you're going to have a really hard time dealing with those Frostworms. You got to have your Griffins, you got to have your Gyros, you got to have something to deal with that. Over here we can see that Infi is going to come over here and try to come in here and do something to this expansion. Lucifer could TP over there, but he is very, very close, and at worst he's going to lose a Ziggurat right here, maybe a couple of Acolytes, nothing too bad. And if he's going to definitely catch the human out of position. Here we do see that human being caught out of position. Lots of focus fire going immediately down onto that Paladin with a Frostworm on it. They're not going to be able to get away from that Frostworm because it just keeps on so much slow, and there he is going to get staffed out by the Archmage. Now the Archmage is what's being focused. The Archmage has no way out at this point. There is no staff on that Mountain King. The Archmage does go down. Now that Mountain King could be in trouble here if that Frostworm decides to attack it, but he is kind of behind a wall of Spellbreakers, so he's not terribly concerned about it. But now he's not, and now he's out of position, and now he's being chased down by this Frostworm. The Frostworm does get bolted, which will give him enough time to get away and break that slow. Just barely enough time, though. As you can see, it lasts for such a long time on heroes. And over here we do see that there is in fact a Water Elemental being left by Infi. Infi being really smart, lost the fight, but actually went ahead and killed several Acolytes, so it was pretty successful harass on that front. However, he did of course lose that fight, losing his Archmage right there. I believe we saw a couple of Fiends going down right there. Not too bad for Lucifer. He is doing kind of a very heavy air army at this point. That is something that Infi could very easily counter if he has enough time. But we're going to have to wait to see exactly what happens. Here we do see a lot of focus fire going on to this Death Knight. He was bolted, and lots of that mana being burned by these Spellbreakers. Now, unfortunately for Lucifer, the one concern he's going to have to deal with is that his magic damage units, his heavy air units, the Frostworms and the Destroyers, even at 3-0 upgrades, they do a lot of damage, but they cannot attack Spellbreakers who are magic immune. And that's a lot of Spellbreakers. You have to deal with that, so you can't just make just heavy air. He's going to have to get some Abominations. There he goes. There we are going to see some of those. And he's going to have to keep those Fiends. And that's, of course, just because he has to be able to deal with this army on the ground. Otherwise, his heroes will just get bolted and surrounded and picked off, even if he is going to be capable of killing those heroes if he can get the positioning on them. Over here we can see this is Infi running around the map. He does have that Paladin rejoined with him at this point, and he's going to continue trying to creep. He needs to get level 2 on that Paladin. Going to go ahead and give that full experience of that creep camp to that Paladin. That Paladin is very likely going to hit level 2 from this creep camp now that he has full experience if he's able to finish it off. However, he may not be able to finish it off, as here we can see Lucifer coming in here with that Frostworm and that Destroyer, as well as these Fiends doing a lot of massive amount of damage, killing one of those 4 Troll Berserkers almost instantly, focusing on that Water Elemental, knowing that he can't focus on these breakers with these heavy air units, so he's going to have to choose the right units there. That Frostworm taking a ton of damage, getting bolted, unable to get out of that fight, taking still even more damage, barely getting coiled. A statue going down, though. That statue is actually currently surrounded, and it does go down anyway. Or did it get... It might have got morphed, I'm not sure. It looked like it was a full HP, so I guess it got morphed. I don't know. Kind of had a blind moment there. Over here we can see that this Death Knight not in the greatest position. It looks like it's going to get surrounded and going to be forced to teleport out of this fight if it doesn't die right there, and it's going to go ahead and teleport out just like it should. And here we do see a second Abomination coming out for the Lucifer's army, picking off a breaker as he TPs away. Definitely something you want to do if you can. If you're forced to TP, you want to get out of there. When you see that Lucifer goes ahead and uses that crystal ball before he sells it, because you can sell items in Warcraft 3 that are on cooldown, which is a little bit different than something like Dota, for example, which some of you may be more familiar with than Warcraft 3 if you're interested in knowing that. But of course, yes, you can sell items that are on cooldown. Over here we can see lots of damage going off from that Frostworm. The Frostworm not really being used too much here, just kind of used as a tank, not really attacking anything. Here you can see a Nova going off. I'm going to go ahead and pick off this Rifleman, no doubt. I'm sure it's very low. And here we can see more focus fire onto this Mountain King. There will be enough mana for a Holy Light, but he won't get staffed out, unfortunately for him. And Infi goes ahead and calls GG. So that is a good game right there. And now this was on WTV, so just give me 1 second. And sorry about that. You might have just noticed a bit of a jump. I did watch it on WTV, and I went AFK while it was going through, so it ended up kind of being with like an extra 8 minutes there at the end. But anyway, onto the score screen. that is, of course, Game 3 going to Lucifer, which means congratulations to Lucifer winning yet another ZOTAC. Absolutely insane. I believe that is 5 ZOTAC wins out of the last 8 games that he's, or last 8 ZOTACs that he has played. And that's all in a row, so that's, or all 8 of those were in a row, and he lost 3 out of 8. So that's not bad. That's pretty good. That is, only a couple other players have really done that. I believe, let's see, Remind, and I think it was Lynn. I should check that. I tell you what I'll do. Yeah, I'm just gonna finish going through this score screen, and then I will indeed actually go ahead and find that out really quickly. So give me half of a second here, and I went ahead and just checked. Yes, indeed it is Remind, Focus, Grubby, and Violet. Those are the only players who have in ZOTAC history really kind of matched what Lucifer has done here in the past few weeks, over the past 2 months or so of ZOTAC. So absolutely a huge congratulations to him. He's doing absolutely amazing right now, and hopefully we're going to see a bunch more games from him, and just awesome. So that's Game 3, and I hope you guys enjoyed this series, and if you did, well, you know, like, subscribe, whatever you want to do, but I'll see you guys next time.